I want to make my first six figures by the end of 2025.
Easy peasy. Okay, here's what I would love to do. I always tell folks before we sit down, we record all the videos, we make all the handouts, we organize all the modules, and we upload into a learning management platform. Let's run it as a live group coaching program. That's your way to beta test and still get paid. That's a way to get live feedback, so that way you can just tweak it and iterate it before you put it online, and you get that feedback so quickly, as well as you can be more efficient with time, energy, and resources to be able to iterate versus putting it online and now you got to re-record or do all that thing. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figure Educator Podcast. My name is Dr. Erica Jordan Thomas. I'm a former teacher, former school principal, Harvard grad turned full-time entrepreneur. I'm CEO and founder of Seven Figure Educator, where we help educators like you monetize their brilliance into a seven-figure education consulting business. I'm super excited today to have an amazing member of our community, Letishia Jones, who was a member of our academy. She then joined our mastermind, and so she is here with us today. She's CEO of Milestone Education Consulting, and we're going to dive underneath the hood of her business. So this is another hot seat episode where we get the opportunity to go behind the scenes of a business, to learn through them, with them, where I get to give some coaching and feedback. And at the end, they're better, I'm better, you're better. It's just a win-win. So we're going to go ahead and welcome Leticia to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited you're here.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Okay, so go ahead and tell the people a little bit about your background, of what were some of the roles that you've held in education prior to your business.
Sure. So I am celebrating my 30th year in education, and I started as a classroom teacher, high school social studies teacher. I did that for several years, and then I actually knew I wanted something different. I thought the only thing for me, however, was to go into administration, but I had an opportunity to go into the not-for-profit side of education. So I have been in the nonprofit world for the last 20 plus years, working with schools and systems to increase access for underrepresented students to higher level coursework, working with school leaders and teachers on organizational development, also building leadership capacity. So I've had a variety of roles in my career, but I'm really passionate about team development, leadership development, those sorts of things, and that's what I do now.
Awesome. And so talk to us around why you decided to start your business, and what are some of the offers that you have? And I know some of this is going to come up when we start getting deeper into your business, but currently right now, talk us through what your business looks like.
Okay. My business, the primary problem that I'm solving in my business is to work with school and district leaders to reimagine their physical spaces in order to improve student learning outcomes, as well as improve culture and climate for students and adults. I started this business as it's an outgrowth of something that I used to do in a previous position that I felt had just been kind of laid down by the wayside. Nobody's really thinking about how much the physical environment actually impacts what students and adults go through in schools. And so decided to pick the mantle back up about 9 months ago and really kind of dive into that again.
Awesome. So let's kind of do a little bit of a snapshot of your business, so that way we have context, our audience has shared context. Tell us how long you've had your business, and then walk us through your 2024 revenue and revenue year to date.
Okay. So I have currently been in business 9 months. I started with you really essentially in July of 2024. To date, my business has earned $35,000, and by the end of June, my business will have earned $55,000.
Period.
So I'm going to have my first 5-figure month ever in my business.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How's it feel?
It feels amazing. So I want to continue that feeling.
Period.
So that's why I'm here, is because we need some strategies to keep this momentum going.
Hey y'all, I want to take a quick moment to pop in. I know the episode's getting really, really juicy, but I could not miss the opportunity to make sure that you know that we are headed to Atlanta October 3rd through 5th for Seven Figure Educator Live. This is my 3-day live event. It is the only 3-day live event for education consultants who are out here making a big impact and getting a big bank. And even if you feel like your bank ain't that big yet, I want you in the room, because that's how your bank gets bigger, okay? I have curated a very special 3-day agenda that includes powerhouse speakers, 7, 8, 9-figure speakers, intentional networking to find your people, to find your next opportunity. Y'all, we're getting ready to take the city over, and we taking it over at a 5-star property, okay? Meet me in Atlanta October 3rd through 5th. Grab your ticket by heading to sevenfigureeducator.com. I'll link it in the show notes, and I'll see you there. Awesome. So I want to zoom out for a second. 9 months, first 5-figure month within the first year of a business, right? And like, I think that's just so beautiful to be able to take in and soak in, because I think for our audience, it just proves like what's possible.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think it's a great reflection and celebration for you of what you've been able to build, how you've been able to grow that, and what the effort that you put into your business, and it's the fruits of your labor.
Thank you.
So let's talk through what's present for you right now from your top 3 challenges, which in preparation for today's hot seat, you've put those together and shared those with us. And so the first challenge that you named was consistency in lead gen. And actually, before you tell me about that, what's your goal for 2025, your revenue goal?
I want to make my first 6 figures by the end of 2025.
Oh, easy peasy. Okay.
Let's do it.
We're absolutely, because that's just another 45K. Okay. So let's talk through, well, actually, to put this in perspective, the reason why I say easy peasy is 55K. Is the 55K the last 9 months, or is that 55K since January of this year?
Since January. The 55 will be from January to this point.
So we are 5 months into the year. We have 7 more months to go. We are not yet halfway through the year, but you're more than halfway to your goal.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, oh, easy peasy. Because even if you ain't changed nothing, like you're on track to meeting your goal, okay? So let's talk through a couple of things, because there might be a world you'd be like, you know what, I'm gonna add a little bit to my goal, but that's your business. I'm not,
I would love to do that.
You know, we'll check back in at the end and see how you feel, because you're already on track to hitting this goal, actually exceeding the goal. Okay, so one of the challenges that you named was consistency in lead generation. And so talk to me more about what that looks like and feels like for you.
So part of what I'm juggling is that I have a 9 to 5. And
hey, first off, pause. 55K with a 9 to 5. Miss me with the excuses. Okay, continue.
Well, yes, I have a certain drive that I really want to do this. And so the time that I was giving to my 9 to 5 on nights and weekends and things of that nature, I'm putting those into my business.
Period.
And so that's probably where some of the disconnect is the balance and the management of the 9 to 5 and the family and all the life things, while trying to be consistent with my business, and also trying to maintain the integrity of my job and where the line is between my job and my business.
Got it. Okay. So what have you already done for lead generation?
So the primary way I've gotten to what will be 55,000 at the end of June is through my network. The people that I've known, not through my job, but from previous jobs and other connections, working with them, reaching out to them, saying, here's what I'm doing. Also people reaching out to me saying, I need help with leadership development, or I need help with my team. And so that's really the referral piece, and the network piece have been the primary ways that I've gotten clients.
Got it. Because of the 55K, how many clients has that been?
6.
Okay. And then, so mostly network referrals is the referrals a result of an ask, or it's a natural organic, hey, let me connect you to somebody?
More organic.
Okay. Super good. Super, super helpful to know. Okay. And then the second thing that you named in terms of a challenge, you named building visibility for the business. Tell me more about that.
Yes. So people know I have a business. I am very open about it. But getting the traction on social media and LinkedIn, things of that nature, is sporadic. It's hit or miss. And I'm just trying to make more people aware that this problem exists and they do need help solving it. And I'm the one to help them solve it.
And so it sounds like social media has been your primary channel of marketing. Is that correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Okay. And is there a particular platform that you've been prioritizing?
Mostly LinkedIn.
Mostly LinkedIn. Okay, cool. And then the last thing that you named for a challenge was experimenting with 2 ideas and being pulled in different directions. Tell me more about that.
So the primary problem I'm working on is about the role of the physical environment, as I mentioned, in school climate, school culture, and student learning outcomes. In my roles over the years, I often get the question of, how did you get to this point? I'm a classroom teacher, I'm a school administrator. How do I get out of the traditional roles in education, still make an impact in education, do things like what you're doing? They see me doing workshops or on stage or, coaching, and they want to know how to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've started an experiment in my business called Exit Strategy for Educators, where it is an opportunity to work with me if you are burned out, nearing retirement, ready for something new, but want to stay in education. And I've built out some offerings to work with educators who are interested in making career transitions.
Got it. Okay, so tell me about those offers.
So the first offer, the entry point right now is a 90-minute paid workshop.
Okay.
And I ran the first one a couple months ago. And without an email list, with some marketing, I did have some paid folks.
Okay. And how much was the workshop, and how many people did you have enroll?
The workshop was $97.
Okay.
I had 7 paid
Okay.
people.
Okay.
I had 12 participants, but I had a couple, like I had my biz bestie with me to help, co-pilot. I had a couple friends. I said, I need you to just come and check this out and give me some feedback. But I had 7 paid participants for the workshop.
That's a $700 workshop.
Correct.
So, period. Okay, so we got the 90-minute paid workshop, and then what else?
And then strategy sessions.
Okay.
One of the 7 people, as a result of that, booked a strategy session with me. I just completed that with her to walk through how to start her exit strategy. And then my goal for the tier 3 or higher tier is a full live course, a 5-module course for people to completely flesh out the exit strategy. So the workshop is really a sliver of showing them, here are some options waiting for you right now, things you haven't considered that you can consider for your next steps. And then if you want to talk more about it, let's book a strategy session. And then when the time comes, you can sign up for the full course.
So how much is a strategy session?
$250.
Okay. So here, I'll share some thoughts, and then we can decide which direction we want to go.
Okay.
So you're still in the experimenting stage, and that's what you're doing is experimenting, right? Which is beautiful, beautiful, so beautiful. So part of what we have the opportunity to think through is what is the highest leverage experiment to run right now that will give you the clarity that feels most meaningful to know which direction to go in your business. Because when I think about these three challenges, lead generation, visibility, having the two sides of the business, well, really the two sides of the business is the leading domino that then influences the lead gen and the visibility, because it's like, well, where do I want to lay my hat? And then that's going to determine what the lead gen and visibility strategy is. So it feels like there's an opportunity to get really clear on the next level experiment for the exit strategy. So that way you have even more deeper and refined data to be able to say, is this where I want to double down and narrow my focus? Or do I want to double down and narrow my focus in the learning spaces area? So it feels like the most natural path is going to be kind of designing what that next level experiment would be. And I'd be curious to hear your feedback on if that would feel meaningful.
It absolutely would. I think one of the things that I'm juggling or struggling with or grappling with is with the exit strategy side, how to make that more lucrative, for lack of a better term. Because of the lower price point, it's going to take me longer to get to the, with the lack of visibility, I feel like it would take me longer to get to my 6-figure goal.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Because where did your 7 people come from?
They came from multiple places, a couple friends, people my husband who knew were teachers, who said sign up for my wife's workshop.
Period. We live for a supportive spouse.
He is definitely that. And actually from B School, posting in the community there, I had a couple people who signed up from that.
Okay, so I think we have an opportunity to pressure test that, because we don't yet have data around this being a slow revenue pathway, because the offers you've presented have been lower priced.
Okay.
Right? And so, because $97, $250, those are lower ticket items, but there hasn't been an experiment to put a higher ticket item and to get feedback for us to be able to say that it's going to be a slow, revenue generator.
Right.
So I think that would be a really great place to plan the next level experiment of what is a higher priced point offer to be able to experiment with. For the 5-module course, what price point were you thinking for that?
I was thinking $497.
Girl.
And I...
Okay, that's why this felt hard. So that's okay. We're gonna unpack this.
That's why I'm here. Okay,
we're gonna unpack this. We're gonna unpack this. Okay, so here's what I would love to do, because I always tell folks, before you take a dive into a course, run it as a live group coaching program first.
Okay.
So before we sit down, we record all the videos, we make all the handouts, we organize it all the modules, and we upload into a learning management platform. Before we do all of that, let's run it as a live group coaching program. So that way, that's your way to beta test and still get paid. That's a way to get live feedback, so that way you can just tweak it and iterate it before you put it online, and then you realize some really great learning that it's like, oh, now I have to re-record a module. So for example, my very first iteration of Get Launch Consulting was a 6-week small group coaching program 5 or 6 years ago. And 5 or 6 years ago, it's crazy to think this now, but there was no mindset module. And I learned real quick. I'm like, oh, baby. I was like, they need some mindset, something. There was no framework module, right? So all these things I learned as I tested of oh, I need to include that. Oh, this piece here. And you get that feedback so quickly, as well as if from a resource standpoint, you can be more efficient with time, energy, and resources to be able to iterate versus putting it online and now you got to re-record or do all that thing.
Right.
So I think it would be really, really interesting to map out what this could look like as a group coaching program. And I think now is like the perfect time of year to be able to roll out. And it could be a 4-week, it could be a 6-week. I know you said a 5-module course. So it could be a 5-week course, or maybe you add on a kickoff at the beginning. So let's map this out. So we can map out what it's going to include and then map out some price points here.
All right.
And then we can put a little bit of a timeline to it.
Perfect.
So, okay. So we're going to map out your group coaching program. And it's 5 modules. Have you already outlined what the 5 modules are?
Yes.
Okay. So let's, for the sake of today, and you can marinate on it later, let's make it 6-week and put a kickoff call at the front end.
Okay.
So we'll have week 1 would be kickoff. Week 2, we got module 1. And then when we go to week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6 are the different modules. And then you could, if you wanted to, I feel like sometimes like saying a 7-week course isn't as snazzy, but you could make it like a little graduation on week 7 or some type of, celebratory thing, at the end to kind of wrap up everything.
Sure.
If you were to teach the modules live, how long would each session be?
I'm thinking about an hour.
Okay. So we can do an hour. Would that include like any type of discussion and Q&A?
Yes.
Okay. So each one of these is going to be 60-minute sessions.
And I'm open to it being longer, but I'm thinking what people would have the appetite for would be the 60 minutes or 60 to 90. So my workshop is 90 minutes and it was the perfect amount of time.
Yeah, I don't think anything longer than 90 minutes. I think I always just err on the little bit of side of like overplaying because, people be getting there to be open their heart. They be, processing, especially with this type of topic, right? There's a lot of emotional, it's hard to separate an emotional experience from what the facts are.
Right.
That just giving the space for that, I think is really helpful.
Okay.
So we'll say a weekly 90-minute session. So that would be 6. All right. And then, so this is where you can then decide what's the outcome of the program? What would they end the program with?
They would have a complete exit strategy, like essentially a strategic plan to make my career transition. So they would explore things like first starting with mindset. Am I ready to leave? Why do I want to leave? Is it just because I want to make more money? I'm burned out. What's the motive? So again, starting with the mindset piece, and then going through the transferable skills. What do I already have that will translate to something else? What do I need to do to prepare? Like what types of experiences should I have had in order to make a successful transition? Oh, you love professional learning? Well, have you taught workshops before? Well, if no, you probably need to get that experience before you try to go facilitate professional learning somewhere.
Right.
So, and then also the pieces of if you're going to do this, you need a LinkedIn page. Resumes look different than they did when you started teaching 20 years ago.
Right.
Things of that nature. But they'll have a fully fleshed out exit strategy.
So that makes me think one thing you could add as a feature is like some guest expert sessions. So, and that could be like, you could decide if you want every other week guest expert sessions. If you want every week guest expert session, so let's say this happens on Tuesday, maybe there's Thursday is the guest expert sessions, or it could alternate guest expert sessions to office hours. So they actually have 2 times a week that they're meeting. So given that type of feature, and the guest expert could be maybe a social and emotional wellness expert. It could be a LinkedIn strategist. It could be a resume, chat GPT, an AI person to help them with things like that. So given that type of feature, how many guest expert sessions do you think would feel right in this kind of 6-week situation?
At least 3, I would think, would be a good round number.
Love it. So 3 guest expert sessions. All right, perfect. Okay, so we got a 6-week group coaching session. It's June. What would be the ideal time period for you to run this? Because this is going to help us back into some pricing strategy.
Okay, so full disclosure, I've been planning to do the 90-minute workshop again in July.
Okay.
When folks are out of school.
Okay.
So,
beginning July, mid-July?
Like July 10th.
Okay.
And so that would be, I'm capturing my Southern friends who are out of school already.
Yep.
And my Northern friends who've been out a week or 2. And I want to do it during the day. So I'm thinking that this would be like the big offer
100%
that would come as a part of that.
100%.
Because for the first workshop, it was book a strategy session.
Right.
And wait for this course.
Right.
So now it could just be, let's go deeper and do this course.
Yep. So I love that. So that means that we're thinking of a launch that will be like end of July. What that means is that you could have a pre-sale period, which could be June through early July.
And this is for the workshop or the coaching program?
The coaching program. So you could start selling. You don't have to wait to that workshop to sell a coaching program.
Okay, gotcha.
So what I would do is I would have a hot list of a number of people that I'd be reaching out to one-on-one. So them 7 people who came before, I would start hitting them back up and letting them know that this is a new opportunity, that actually this is a course preview and you're running the course live, so they actually can get access to it now rather than waiting. And you can even message it as an early adopter or beta group, inaugural group, like there's some marketing language you can put around it. As a way to, be able to appropriately position. So from a pre-sale standpoint, we have that, and then we could do regular price. We can do that July to the start of the program. What would be your goal for how many people you'd want to get in it?
Love to get 10.
Okay, so our goal is going to be 10. So it is not unheard of to have a group coaching program that's 4 figures.
Okay.
So to break down some numbers, so what we're getting ready to do is I'm going to model a very light pricing philosophy, pricing strategy. This is a oversimplified way of running your numbers, but I do think it's valuable to do the example. I'm just saying this is oversimplified to give us an idea of how to put pricing into context.
Okay.
Hey there, I know I'm jumping in at a really juicy part of the episode, but I wanted to make sure you knew about a super special opportunity that me and my team have available. So imagine if you had a 90-day plan that outlines every single step you need to take every single week in order to generate at least $10K at least 10K in your business. And that's exactly what me and my team do during our 7-Figure Strategic Planning Intensive. It is a live 6-hour workshop where we walk you through building your 90-day strategic plan to make more money in your business. Now, you have the opportunity to join us at our next intensive, and in order to do so, just click the link in the show notes to book a call with my team so we can tell you all about it. All right, we'll jump back into the episode and let's get back to this good fire content. So we have 6 90-minute sessions. That is 9 hours of delivery time. For a 90-minute session, how long would it take you to prep?
Ooh. Probably a couple days.
A couple days for 90 minutes?
Well, it's the Virgo perfectionist.
Girl. Okay, so I relate.
I know.
I can relate. And the rule that I give myself is however long the session is usually my target for prep. So if it's a 90-minute session, I try and prep 90 minutes. And so if we're saying 9 hours, 9 hours for all the sessions, that means 9 hours of prep. So we're talking 18 hours of prep. Okay. 18 hours of prep/delivery.
Got it.
All right. And so let's say your hourly rate is $300. And, one of the things we talk about is that, the goal is to eventually move beyond an hourly rate to pricing for value. But this is just going to help us put in perspective the price for right now. So 18 hours times 300, we got $5,400 is what you would need to be paid to deliver this. Okay? That's at $300 an hour. If you decide to change your rate, that's your business. Okay? But
I like the sound of $300 an hour.
Okay. And then if we have 3 guest expert sessions, let's say that they have the same hourly rate of $300 an hour, right? Were you thinking 60 or 90 minutes for them? 60. Okay. So let's say we pay them, and there's certain ways you go about this. You can structure it as a Q&A to where they don't have prep. You could structure it as if they give a formal presentation. So let's say for each one, let's just say if you decided to structure it as a Q&A to where the hour itself is what you're paying them for, times 3 guests, this is now $900 worth of an expense.
Okay.
All right. So then for a complete exit strategy plan, if you were to sell that on its own, no support, no coaching or anything, but just that as an artifact, what would you price it?
You mean the template for it? Probably at least $100.
Okay. Because part of, and this is where it's like, I don't think of it as a template. Like you're giving them the plan and the steps. Now they got to fill it in, but you're giving them the structure to plan their exit. Okay. So when we add these 2 things together, we get $6,500 from an expense standpoint. Okay. If we got $6,500 from an expense standpoint, let's bake in taxes, right? So let's say that if that's, because this is what you want to take home in your pocket. So if this is what you want to take home in your pocket, let's add, and I'm being super rough because I don't know your tax situation. That's none of my business. But let's say we are going to have $1,500 for taxes that we're budgeting and estimating. So now we're at $18,000. So anything that you make, I'm sorry, $8,000. So I'm speaking over your life of what this was, you know what I'm saying, where this could go. Okay. So $8,000.
Okay.
So anything after the 10 people enroll, anything after that $8,000 is profit because you've paid yourself, you've covered the value of this template, you've paid your experts, we've included taxes. So anything after this is now excess. So I would want to round this up to at least $10,000 that you're bringing in from one cohort, at least, which means you at least got to charge $1,000 per person.
Okay.
Which to me still feel like an amazing deal.
Okay.
So let's live in a world, I'm going to give you some examples and then you make the decision of where you want to land. Okay. So if we were to live in a world where this was $1,500 per person, which means with the 10 people, that'd be a $15,000 offer. When you launch when you pre-sell, you could pre-sell for $1,000 and then make the regular price $1,500.
Gotcha.
And when you pre-sell, you have the opportunity to split it up in a monthly payment plan. $500 at a deposit and then $500 at the start of July before we launch.
Okay. So
now that's a way to make it more accessible. So if you did the pre-launch or the pre-sale at $1,500, now we split it up to a monthly payment plan of $7,500. And I'm not going to get too deep into monthly payment plans, but I'll make the monthly payment plan a little bit more expensive than the pay in full. So if we're saying $1,000 for pay in full, I'd actually make the monthly payment plan like $600 and $600.
Okay.
Just make it a little bit more expensive to incentivize people to pay in full. But beyond that, those are some options, right? That when you pre-sale, what's the incentive to pre-selling? The incentive is a monthly payment plan and or an early bird rate. So if you start at $1,000, the price goes up to $1,500, right? So that's an option there. The another option that you have for the workshop, they pay $97. You can apply that to the cost of the group coaching program. So I don't want you to go under $1,000 for this. So in that case, I'm like, make it $1,100. And then they can apply the $97 or whatever to the cost of the program to where that's an incentive of them being able to take the next step, but they got to take the next step by a particular date in order to take advantage of that credit. Okay. So given those kind of scenarios, what are you thinking for price?
I like what you're saying about the $1,500 as the regular price with the $1,000 as the pre-sale. That feels doable to me. And then offering the payment plan.
Yep.
Would you offer the payment plan? So I could also offer the payment plan for the $1,500, but it might be $1,700 if you end up using the payment plan. Okay.
And I mean, what you could do, so my rule around payment plan is the payment plan has to be completed and fulfilled by the end of the service. So, and this is up to you, right? Because now this becomes a systems question of setting up a monthly payment, and then you got to have the systems if somebody doesn't pay, right? So if you sell at June, this launches in July, or the end of July, which means you're going into August with the program, someone could have a 3-month monthly payment option. If you wanted to offer that, where they can have a payment in June, a payment in July, and a payment in August. But that means that you have to have the system that if they don't make their payment, then there's a way to notifying them and then reaching out to be able to get the payment. And then if they don't pay, then you can't come. So you have enough time to be able to figure that out. So that's when you can decide you shouldn't go more than 3 months. But do I want to offer monthly payment? And then do I want to offer them for both payment options? Okay. All right. So what are your reflections, next steps from this?
Wow. So much good stuff.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I just had one more thing.
Go.
I'm not going to go too deep into this because this is a little bonus tip. You could do an upsell of a one-on-one strategy session with you during the 6 weeks. So you could have payment option number 1, $1,000. Payment option number 2, $1,300 and get, or $1,250 and get a 60-minute strategy session during the course of the 6 weeks. So just as an opportunity to upsell, because now that 1,000 can be $2,550. Now the 1,500 could be $1,750. So that could be a way to add that in. Or you could just bake that in from jump and make it $1,250. The price.
Okay.
That they get
6 weeks plus the strategy session
is $1,250. And then the 6 weeks plus the strategy session at regular price is $1,750. So you got a couple options there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What are some of your next steps?
Next steps are really about making decisions about the structure and getting it ready to share in July or getting ready for pre-sale.
I feel
I'm
like
ready.
we need a song. Cues Drake Nokia. I couldn't hum it for you right now, but I know it's a banger. Okay, so I'm really, really excited for you. I think does this feel like the type of experiment that would give you clarity on which direction to double down on in your business?
Absolutely. It's interesting that we went here because I've kind of been running from a group coaching program.
Why?
I think because of what my own perceptions are of what it is. And, but the reality is I get to structure what it is.
Correct.
And so whatever the lift needs to be for me, then that's what it should be.
100%. And one thing we didn't say is like a community element. Right? Like a Slack channel or a WhatsApp group. Like we didn't even put that down. And that's still a value. You know what I mean? But then that, that's a whole nother level of access that people can hit you up whenever, where I would not be charging $1,000 for that. And once I put that in there, and then you got to set expectations around when people communicate with you and when they expect a response. But that could be another feature or benefit of it. But I would absolutely increase the price if you decided to include that too.
Okay. All right.
I mean, these hot seats just keep getting better and better. I'm super excited and grateful for Letishia, for you having the opportunity to be able to join us, for you opening up your business to be able to share with our listeners, so that way our listeners have the opportunity to be able to learn and hopefully extract some nuggets for their business. And so head to the comments, let me know your ahas, your biggest takeaways. And if you found this episode meaningful, I got 2 requests for you. 1, that you hit the subscribe button so that way you don't miss the next episode. And 2, that you share it with a friend, because we are on a mission to make sure that as many educators as possible have access to content to grow their financial freedom. So sharing is caring. Share this episode with a friend if you found it meaningful. We will see you here back on the next episode of Seven Figure Educator, the podcast.